What's your process on how to become more fit human being to conquer life?
Just fundamentals and just like one habit at a time, maybe 2 habits at a time until it's implemented, until it's part of their life, part of their identity. So if you can keep those habits in place early, everything else grows exponentially in the thought process of trying to make the world a better place. One of them is just helping one person at a time. And even if that one person is yourself, unhappiness is when you're focused on what's missing.
Unhappiness is focusing on what's missing.
Yeah.
People are getting like diabetes from
vaping
because the flavor is actually sugar. They have sugar in the vape, so it's not just tobacco. And I didn't know this until recently. So why is poker not gambling technically, in your opinion?
Because I think the odds are in your favor.
What do you think the healthy screen time is? How's making content in general, and why are you inspired to do so?
It's interesting. I feel like it's a useful skill, especially as we continue in our world to be able to express your ideas in an efficient way where people can get to it.
What's the definition of content from your perspective?
Just anything you put out that you can share.
Yeah.
Just content.
So what is it going towards from your end? Like what type of content are you trying to make?
So right now I'm a focus on something that's been helpful to me and that could be helpful to my friends. Like if it's helpful to
anything.
me, pretty much.
Yeah.
Could be fitness related, but I think that good content is something that's going to make the world better, like would be useful to my friends.
I think authenticity, right? Because if it worked for you, it should work for others because you believe so much in it.
Yeah, and if they're like me. If they're not like me, it's not for everyone, but if it's useful.
What do you mean
me.
if they're like you?
So like, for example, my last post was about calories per dollar.
Yeah, we were talking about this.
If you don't think about calories per dollar as like a metric, a spreadsheet of calories per hour might not be useful to you. But like if you think like that, you're like, oh, that's really interesting.
You're the only person who I've ever talked to who have thought like that.
Yeah. So I'm a unique list person, but like if you wouldn't think to do it, but you see it happening and you're like, oh, that could be cool. That could be useful. So I feel like that's a
Why do you measure
good
it?
area. Eating can be expensive. So from eating 4,000 calories and 230 grams of protein over the long run, if you don't know what metrics you can use to like lower that price. Wow.
How expensive were we talking about?
I mean, I usually spend like, actually, I'm not sure, like $1,000 a month. And just like in general, that includes supplements and other areas, could be Costco. But
Sure.
if you eat like out all the time and you're trying to eat in a certain amount, it's way more expensive. But I've kind of locked in like foods that are more calorie dense and not as expensive.
Because like looking at it from that point of view, like the busy professional who eats out a decent amount, not from like a fitness space, like it is going to be more expensive than just your spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the purpose for you?
So probably start early. I did this a long time ago, fresh out of college, wanted to optimize.
When you didn't have the salary and money that you have built.
Yeah, and now I'm cognizant of it. And like, if I want my money to go far, I feel like I should use it on good things like experiences. And if there's like superior foods, I'm a big optimizer.
Yeah.
So some foods are just better than others. One, in health and how your body's digested.
Yeah.
Two, if you're getting more calories and more protein, it's just a superior food item.
Are you a big organic guy? For meats and stuff?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to be, but like not all the time.
Do you think it matters?
Not sure.
Yeah.
So like I like free range stuff, grass fed. I think those are usually important.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure like I feel like organic can also just be marketing. So I don't know like how effective.
I know, because like I'll have like a regular steak that is not grass fed or whatever it says on the label. I'll just get it and I'm like, this tastes just as good.
Yeah. No, really, it's so much marketing. It's
and then I don't
feel
feel bad either. Like sometimes you'll eat, I don't know, when I eat or when I have eaten like an Impossible Burger, my shit does not feel good. Like my stomach doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't digest right. It feels something feels off.
Have you dabbled with it?
So I was vegan for like 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So I tried it.
6 months, that's a long time.
Yeah. My energy wasn't better than just like low carb.
Why did you try it?
I like to try things.
Okay.
And they say it's good. They say it's going to help you have more energy. I'm all about optimizing and
I don't know how they got Arnold to talk about it in that one documentary, the plant-based documentary.
Yeah, I think I remember.
What's it called?
The name of it. Plant-based one.
But I was like, this dude ate meat all the time to get to where he was. I was like, how did they get him to go to plant-based?
Yeah. You got to use a lot of supplements, especially if you like are big and are trying to get protein.
Yeah.
And pea protein's gross. the most disgusting.
It doesn't
protein
taste good. It's
yeah,
like
it's chalky.
What do you think the importance is of like trying each diet for like everybody? Because there's certain people who just never try it because they're like, that's not for me. But the thing is, you can't know it's for you if you never try it.
Yeah. I think it's just a way of living. You also have to experiment and see what works for you.
Yeah.
So we're all so unique, and what works for you might not work for other people. And then how you feel, additional energy, and if you can implement something that's going to make changes throughout your whole life, it seems so valuable.
Before we continue this week's conversation, I just wanted to take a quick moment and talk to you about our friends at Mudwater. Their original blend is a coffee alternative made of 100% organic cacao, masala chai, turmeric, lion's mane, reishi, and cordyceps to give you natural energy and focus without the jitters or crash. When I know I'm gonna have a long day ahead of me, I mix the Mudwater original blend with some whole milk and a couple drops of honey to elevate my day. In my opinion, it's more flavorful than a chai latte and is better fuel for my body. To elevate your day and get the benefits of coffee without the jitters or crash, click the link below to receive 20% off. And back to the show. Why do you think people don't measure stuff? Because like you measure everything. I don't think I know anybody else who measures as much stuff as you do. Like from poker to the protein per dollar. What is the protein per dollar or dollar per protein? Like gram protein.
So the way you break it down is you look at any food item, look at the servings on the back.
Yeah.
So you look at how many servings there are, you multiply that by the protein per serving, and you divide by the price, and that's going to be protein per dollar. So the higher that number is, the more protein you get per $1 spent. So let's say the Costco rotisserie chicken, for example. Fantastic. They lose money on it. So like you buy it, you're doing well.
Do you get after it on the rotisserie chicken?
Not as much, because I like thighs and to season them now. Okay. But like fresh out of college,
thighs, bro.
They're so much juicier.
Thighs, so good.
Yeah, so much juicier.
There was a study about, not a study, but there's this one guy who's coming after the microplastics of the rotisserie chickens at Costco, saying it's not good for you, so I stopped getting them.
Yeah, I honestly haven't got much either. Like I'm pretty good with the thighs.
Yeah.
But like per dollar, and I like to season them with like my Cajuns and like everything there, and it's easier for me to like measure out than like the Costco ones.
I just don't like breasts anymore, bro.
Same. They're so much drier once you're used to like
thighs. They're so good. And I oven finish them now.
Interesting.
Yeah, my buddy taught me. He gained over 30 pounds for like powerlifting. He hired a coach and a nutritionist. He's like, bro, I just got to figure out a way to like enjoy my protein.
Yeah.
And so he showed me his marinade for these chicken thighs. He cast iron 3 minutes, flip it, put it in 375 for 15 minutes, and it comes and you let it rest for 5-10 before eating. It's the best piece of chicken I've ever had.
Oh yeah.
So good.
And once you get used to doing that, it's so much worse to go back.
Yeah. And then I eat a piece of fried chicken sometimes, and I'm just like,
mess with your stomach.
yeah, it fucks with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you have a lot of good like produce going into your body, you're like, oh shit. And then you get tired too.
Yeah. You're eating clean. Like when your body's digesting it, you're sleepy, you're lethargic. Like your body and like your gut biome adjust like a healthier. That's why you get more energy. Then you feel worse. And you're like, oh, it's just so much better.
Do you believe in carnivore?
Yeah, form of keto. I haven't tried it, but
the microbiome. It's from what I've read, the healthier it is from diverse foods, like from eating your vegetables and your fruits and your proteins and like your good grains and stuff like that. But I always worry about like people who do carnivore and stuff like that, because the research shows that your gut health is correlated to a diverse diet.
Yeah.
You know? So it's just like, I also see people who look like super healthy on carnivore though.
Yeah, and the energies I feel like is there too, because that's like a keto version.
You're basically, you're kind of basically on a carnivore, or no?
I have a lot of nuts.
You have a lot of nuts.
Yeah, it would be expensive to get the calories in just meat.
Okay.
That would be a lot.
Or protein shakes. Do you not do protein shakes?
A little bit here and there.
Okay.
But then just like my calories per dollar spreadsheet, if you had to do that through meat and like protein areas, and you only had, that was your only option, like that would be.
Did you break down
pricey.
in terms of like shakes and stuff?
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Okay.
Because I have protein and calorie per dollar.
So how much is it for calorie per dollar?
So calorie, same thing, same calculation, and then.
No, what's the price though? Like basically for your day of calories.
Oh, I haven't broken it down that far.
Oh, okay.
Because I did this years ago, and now I generally just know, and then I'll mix up the foods, so I don't like recalculate. I don't have it like listed out.
It's similar to like counting your macros, right? When you understand that there's like 7 grams of protein in an egg, or Like you just don't need to count it.
Yeah, you generally
You have an
understand
idea
it.
of like what you need.
Yeah,
right?
and know what high foods are and what low foods are. Like going to a restaurant, it's just you're gonna pay way more for the same calories per dollar.
Yeah. So back to the metrics, like what's the reasoning for it? With every aspect of your life, it's very fascinating, bro. Like we haven't hung out like a ton, but I get fascinated every time I talk to you about this shit because I'm just like, I don't know anyone like you, bro.
Yeah, I like to measure things. I have a math degree. Like it just feels good to like create concrete data out of whatever you're trying to do.
Okay.
So
Where did it start?
let me think. Some of the earliest things I've tracked, because in a lot of reading, you'll be if it get measured, it gets improved, and then
You said reading?
So like in your self-help area, anything you measure, you can improve. So like you're tracking your weight, whatever you start tracking, your mind is going to start working on ways to optimize.
Sure.
So like financially, I've tracked my expenses for years, or like investments. I've been journaling. I think it probably might have been tracking like where I'm spending areas just to optimize.
Money.
Yeah, that might have been where it started. But yeah, spreadsheets, Excel, love them. It's so efficient just to see what it is and then optimize.
If people want to start tracking anything, where should they start?
Something where you're gonna remember to track it. So it can be visual. Oh, I should have brought my sheet, but actually have like a habit tracker that I write out.
Okay.
So in a place where you can see it. So you can see it and then you'll know to adjust it. So let's say you want to track your weight, you can just write it down on like your daily areas to keep track of it, or calories.
You talking about like I weigh myself, I write it down.
Yep.
Okay.
Whatever's easy for you. It could be a sticky note, could be whatever you want. Just write it down and then you can, if it gets measured, it gets improved.
Because a lot of people just have time, like they have a hard time committing to just like measuring shit. Like you tell a client, write down what you ate today. They're like, oh, I forgot to write 2 of my meals down.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, it's not that hard. You just have to eat and then write down what you ate.
Yeah.
And we got to figure it out.
The habit of tracking is its own habit that you have to independently create as a habit.
Because the things that I measure in my life are pretty simple. It's the protein intake, weight, and that's basically it. Like I'll track like the money stuff. Like I just know if it's at a certain area, I know I'm not overspending or underspending, or I'm okay with like underspending. Like if I know it's like super high, I'm like, oh, like I didn't go over on groceries this month and stuff like that. Because it takes a lot of attention to do all these things. Like the measurement of the income, the food intake, the weight, like you only have so much attention.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm just fascinated in how do you get yourself to do it in all areas of life?
Yeah, you got to make systems. So, I mean, I have so many systems.
Okay.
I don't even share, like I have a spreadsheet of like daily habits that are optional and then ones that I'm like focused on.
Like give me a rundown on the systems.
So I pretty much have similar to this, I use just a piece of paper, graph paper. And
graph paper?
Yeah,
like
graph
geometry
paper.
days.
It just makes it
Oh, God.
Because you got to trick yourself to give yourself dopamine too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can like check off if you did that today.
I love checking off shit.
Oh, yeah.
I even write down some shit and then cross it off even though I just finished it.
Yeah. And it's related to my to-do list. Like sometimes on my to-do list on the same sheet, or like right now I'm trying it separately so I can see like how I do long term.
Okay.
And it's cool. You can see like throughout the week, throughout my work week, I will get worse on my habits typically. That's when they start slipping. And then weekends, you kind of refresh and you go back. So it is related to stress, which is interesting on like output and measurements, like how many minutes I can work.
Okay. And you have it all on paper.
Yeah, I like writing. When it's real, it's more, and I try to avoid my phone for something like that.
So what is on this paper? This graph
So you have
paper?
like a day. So it'll be, let's say Monday. And then the top one, I think is weight. So I'll write down like my weight.
Okay.
And then I have calories.
So you do it every day?
Right now.
Right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now we're in...
This season of life?
Yeah,
okay.
Basically. Been doing it for a while. It works. When I'm trying to improve something and I start tracking metrics for improvement, it just works.
Yeah.
Like you see it and then you grow.
Okay, so weight?
So there's weight. I have calories because I'm trying to keep track of like how many calories I'm eating for like my maintenance. And it changes how much I work out. So it's also measured so I don't go over or under it.
Okay.
Because probably like 3,500.
Okay.
Which can be a lot, could be a little, but
depending on how much you work out.
Yeah. So that could change.
Because like you're a big guy, you could knock out 1,000 calories if you do like a workout and like a hike.
Yeah, and I never feel like full, so I can't really like rely on how many calories and to make sure I'm getting enough protein. So I usually use chronometer and just copy paste the day before and then change a couple things.
What's a chronometer?
It's like MyFitnessPal. It's an app that lets you track how many calories and protein, carbs, everything you're eating.
Cool.
Yeah, so there's that, and then...
So is that at the end of the day?
So those can be added at the end of the day typically.
Okay.
But I'll have it relate next to each other so I can see like, all right, this is my weight. This is how it's being affected by calories. Because it changes and slows down when you're trying to cut too. That's what I've noticed.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I have... And then like if I ate after a certain time period, like intermittent fasting, I don't always do that. So there's just like bonus check marks. You just have to like reward yourself. If
that's tricking dopamine right there.
Yeah. It's a way to reward yourself. So in the habit creating
Small
process.
wins.
Yeah. So like if you don't reward yourself, it's hard to keep the habits. But like that check mark gives you a little bit of dopamine, which makes the habit more
And the box is
repeatable.
already just there, so you just check it off right next to it.
Yep.
It feels good. And is that basically it for the day to day?
Oh, there's more. So there's... If I meditate, then a lot of these are bonus. Like these are bonus. Like a better day is I'm doing more than this.
I just feel like if you have like 20, right, that's kind of unsustainable
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's too much.
And like you feel like you're losing that day.
Yeah.
Like you're like, fuck, I'm a piece of shit. Like I only crossed off 3 of the 20.
Yeah, and I'll
know?
try to cross them off. Like I've written down these are bonus goals.
Okay.
So like if you try to do that, that's not necessarily what's going to give you the long-term output. And then you have like the few 1, maybe 2 habits that you're like concretely building right now.
Yeah.
And those you don't miss. Like you just can't miss those, or else you get motivated. You do a whole bunch of things and you slip off and you keep slipping off. So it's good to have one you don't have. And then if you want to do more habits, great. But these are bonus. So you can if you want, but if you don't, it's
What's
okay.
your meditation process?
I pretty much been doing it for years, since college. Gone to silent retreats. I sit, focus on breath. You're going to get distracted. You come back to your breath. It's like a mindfulness spot. I have my own separate car.
Silent retreat.
Yeah, I did a couple of those.
I've done one with Boy Scouts, I think, when I was like 13 or 14. How was your experience?
I mean, I feel like more on purpose every time I do one. Getting away from...
It's weird being around a ton of people and you're not communicating. You're just there in their presence and you don't communicate at all.
Yeah, you don't get lonely. I think it's almost better that way.
What do you think the benefit is from that? Because you could do it at home too. You could just be quiet by yourself.
I think when you separate the environment, it gives your mind more ability to change.
When you separate it from which environment?
From your day-to-day. So your day-to-day has so many triggers that lead into habits, and being able to get away from that to be in an environment, be aware of your thoughts. You don't have the want to look at your phone. You don't have the people you're going to be around normally. I think when you get some distance, it allows you to get more perspective on how your brain is thinking. And
What are some of those stuff, like new or probably new experiences or new what did you say? What was the word?
Perspective, thoughts, insights, purpose.
Yeah, what are some of those?
So I've done 3, and each time you get a little more on purpose. I don't think you ever like fully achieve your complete goal. It changes throughout life. But in the thought process of trying to make the world a better place, I was generally feeling bad, like, oh, these people are doing amazing things. I'm not doing too much. One of them is just helping one person at a time. And if you can do that, you're making the world a better place.
Better place. Yeah.
And even if that one person is yourself.
So
like if the world's exactly the same and you're a happier, better person, the world is now a better place, which kind of gives you permission to take care of yourself better than just trying to make other people's lives only better.
Yeah, I forgot. I think it's Ramadas. It's like, for me to help you, I need to help myself, like type of deal. Like I need to be the best. The best version of me is going to be the best version for you. Like,
yeah, you got to put your mask on before helping others on a plane.
Yeah.
And to be able to help others the best you can be, you need to take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, and just be good.
And I feel like if you try to do it the opposite way, if you try to help other people first without truly like, the thing that I hate is when like someone will tell someone else how to work out or how to eat and this and that. And clearly by just visualization, you know they're not doing that. You know, like, oh, you got to eat your right protein, get your steps in, and you're like a heavy set human being that clearly doesn't look like they work out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting how people want to help there.
Why do you think people will try to help others before helping themselves?
Well, there's different ways to think about that. I think there's a lot of people who want to help. They want to be helpful, and like they have problems setting boundaries, also saying no. So they are willing to do something to help someone else, even if it harms themselves. And I think there is, so they always say like people that aren't good at saying no or like truly expressing how they feel about something and
telling the truth.
Often.
Or saying your feelings how they really are.
Yeah.
You know,
some people just have problems saying no and rejecting or like feeling like rejections or saying those boundaries like this is just isn't good for me to make it win-win. Some people are generally like that.
Like what do you mean by like saying no? Like give me an example.
Something you wouldn't be happy with, but people will say stuff anyway. Like people will agree to something they don't want to do.
Okay.
Anytime if you agree to something that you don't want to do, you've pretty much, and if it's like, sometimes you'll be like, fine, this is a good trade-off.
So for example, like I want to go, someone asked me to go out for a few drinks tonight.
Yeah.
And I say yes, even though I really don't want to go.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
I mean, similar. Let me think of a good example. So for that example, you didn't want to go. You did because they wanted you to. Like, what was your
100%.
thought process? Like, why did you go when you didn't want to? Because you want to make someone happy?
Yeah.
Like, if you do something to make someone else happy, even though you don't want to, you're often conflicting your boundaries. And I think that we're generally healthy, so we're not doing it. But I know that some other friends who are really people pleasers aren't taking care of themselves because they're taking care of others. So they will put their needs below them. And I think that to be in your best place, you have to be able to take care of yourself and then take care of others and not let yourself degrade while you're making sacrifices for others.
Yeah. Do you educate people, or at least you started training, you know, online training? I never really thought about this, but like, do you educate people on that aspect of health before going on their physical health journey?
What do you mean? Like what aspect of health?
What you just said there, like
being able to take care of yourself?
Yeah, before, no, not necessarily. In the sense of they want to get healthy physically, right? And they need to do X, Y, Z steps to get there, but they might not be able to because of the reasons that you just said for their personal life. Like, do you need, and the habits they have at home and stuff. Do you coach them about habits, about like those aspects before getting into the physical? Because like everything else could deteriorate. Like once one habit falls, another habit could fall, like you were just talking about.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's in the early phases. So finding out why people are motivated in the early section, and then leading them to understand why doing this is going to help them live the life that they want. So for example, if you want to be a great parent and be loving with others, it's important to be energetic, and working out is one of the top areas. You stay energetic, you take care of your body, you feel good, and then bring it back to their reasons why they want to work out. It's often weight loss. They want more confidence. They want to live a healthier life. They want more time with their family and kids. And I think helping them realize their why can get them motivated and understanding to make the necessary changes that would lead them to that life.
Yeah. In today's day and age, bro, it's so hard to, I guess, find the actual why behind it, because there's so many answers in the sense of like, oh, I could take this pill, or I could take Ozempic to lose weight. And like, why do I need to do that? You know, here's my answer. You know, what would you say the actual benefit is to doing it the non-Ozempic,
non-drug way?
The authentic way.
Yeah. And we talked about this earlier about feelings of Ozempic. I think that from my understanding, it's better than being obese, but there's so much more on top of being in control of your life and empowering yourself that carries over to other facets.
Yeah.
So the fact that you are able to make these changes, the fact you feel in control. Some of the worst times that I feel is when I don't feel like I'm in control. Like when I have been on my phone too much on Instagram, I was just not in control. It wasn't intentional. I wasn't proud of the time that I'm spending. And I think that a lot of unhappiness comes from not feeling in control of your life, like not feeling in control of your career. If you're addicted to a substance, I feel like that would feel horrible. Or people that can't quit their vape, which is so common because it's just everywhere. So the fact of not feeling in control.
Bro, did you hear about the vape stuff? People are getting like diabetes from vapes.
From vaping?
Because the flavor is actually sugar. They have sugar in the vape, so it's not just tobacco. And I didn't know this until recently.
I know either.
And I was like, yo, what? So each time they're just sugar, tobacco, sugar and tobacco. I was like, dang. But like nicotine's a nootropic, right? So it can be used to benefit you in some ways.
Yeah.
And so I'm part of the Zen crew once in a while.
It's tough. It's hard to quit too.
Yeah, for some reason I've never got it like addicted to it. Like,
That's good.
I kind of time it like before a pod, or like if I have a really tired like long day with clients and like I'm 4 in and I have like a 2-hour break and I'm just like, I need to pick me up. It's like caffeine in is in, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
You know? But like I could quit for like a month and I'll be good.
That's good.
Yeah. Have you been addicted to anything?
No, I feel like I have an addictive personality.
Okay.
Which is why I've never smoked a cigarette. I haven't tried anything there.
Really? Never
Yeah.
smoked a cigarette?
And I just don't want to start.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Gambling.
Poker. I do play poker.
You do play poker.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have a gambling personality.
So in my head, and this is what all gamblers are going to tell you, poker isn't gambling in the same way that like every other game was.
Explain.
It's the only game that I play, and you have to beat other people.
It's the only game that you play. In poker, in betting.
In gambling. It's the only game the game play. I don't play blackjack. Like if the odds are against you, it's good.
Okay.
It's not a game I would play, And I have hundreds of hours of playing the game, tracking metrics. And in the long run, I'm profitable.
Yeah.
Just
you see it.
Yeah, you see the profit long term.
Yeah.
And like it is technically gambling, but so is a lot of other areas. So is investing technically. And this just sounds like completely defending my gambling and poker we're not playing right now. But if you have, let's say, a 50% chance of tripling your money,
100%.
That is gambling, but it's something that...
It's a pretty good odd.
Yeah, it's something you would do.
Yeah.
And in the long run, you would make money. So it's expected value.
Yeah.
So the whole poker area, if you have positive expected value, even if you go up and down, you're making money.
Okay, so why is poker not gambling technically, in your opinion?
Because I think the odds are in your favor.
Okay. If you don't understand the rules of the game as good as the person next to you, it is not in your favor.
Correct. So if you're the house, basically. So if you're gambling and the odds are against your favor,
sure,
it's a bad investment.
So I'm guessing, what is the skill set and the knowledge of the game of poker that makes it in your favor?
So I've studied, read books on it. I have a math degree. I understand and have broken down raising charts, equity calculators. So, and I'm not doing it to gamble.
Yeah.
So I know the probability of every move.
Why are you doing
on
it
every
then?
street. I wanted a new project when I was fresh out of college. I have a math degree. I enjoyed learning and growing. And I was thinking about making it a possible career. That was the thought. If I could make money playing a game, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably over the career I make $30 to $40 an hour.
Okay.
Which is okay money, but I think that my time could be spent more wisely. And it didn't feel good to be a casino.
You got the numbers from the statistics that you put in?
Like the hourly?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I track every single metric, and I felt like, so if I go in $100, I'm out this, and you can see all the sessions. I think I win like 57% of the time that I play. And it's not good for your like mind overall if you lose a bunch of money.
Yeah.
But
you kind of get desensitized to money.
A little bit.
I stopped sports betting for a while.
Yeah.
And blackjack. So I have a buddy who is really good at counting cards. And he's won a lot of money, lost a lot of money. But overall, he's like net positive or gross positive, net positive, whatever. And, but like up and down $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 like a week. And like being totally fine. And then you talk to like a normal human being and they look scared for you.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, like, and mine wasn't that high. Mine was probably 2 to 5.
Yeah.
Like 1,000 a week. But that's a lot of money.
Yeah. And it changes your risk tolerance.
Risk tolerance for sure. And then you think differently, you know? Like I used to measure things off like lunches in high school.
Yeah.
Like a Chipotle. It's like $10 at the time.
Yeah.
That's a fuck ton of Chipotle bowls, bro.
It is. It is. And like you don't want to go off that end. Like it's been never been unprofitable. So Yeah, it is crazy to think about how that changes how you view money. And it's so smart. Just use chips. That's not money. It's just chips.
I know.
It's not a Chipotle burrito. It's not your rent. It's just a chip. What do you mean?
Just
Just throw it in.
Yeah.
You throw it in, and you're probably going to get it back. Yeah. Maybe not.
It's a good mind trick that the house uses. What do you like about poker, though?
I mean, it's just so engaging. Yeah, I'm taking a break right now. It's just using your mind, and always like games. I like chess, Connect Four, the structure to figure out.
In terms of like the social aspect or the game against other people, like why poker?
I mean, I was thinking about a side how you're like, no, I could be good at this. It's math. People aren't going to put in the work. So I'd write down my sessions. I would study them. I would continue to iterate. And people just like weren't putting in the work, and instantly it feels good to win. So like you go there, I was like, oh, I'm good at this. Yeah. And if you really just don't open, like if you just don't play bad cards to start, you're already beating like the basic states.
Most people. Yeah. Like why are you going in with 2-6, 2-7?
Yeah. If you're patient enough, just not pick those bad positions. Yeah. You're pretty much break even at least.
At least.
So like most people aren't.
Yeah. Or get, I guess, kind of unlucky in the sense of like you could get pocket kings and someone else could have pocket aces.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good life lesson in that way. Like you could have the best cards, you can play them optimally, but sometimes things aren't going to work out.
Yeah. Do you know who Annie Dillard is? I forgot. She might have won the World Series of Poker a couple times, but she wrote this book called Thinking in Bets, and she's a really good poker player. Yeah. And she relates poker to like life, you know, and they're basically just every decision that you make in life is a small bet. Yep. You know, if like for me, I'm about to make this like big move in a way that saves me like a monetary income, but also to invest in like future goals and careers and stuff like that. And it's kind of a bet. It's like, I don't know if it's going to go well. Yeah. Or like, I don't know, you played football and you could have probably gone to a lot of different colleges. Yeah. And you're like, you think UCLA is the right one? I don't know. But you have enough facts from people or sources that you're like, I think it's the right move.
Yeah, you can only do the best cut. You never know. Yeah, you never know what the alternative road takes. And there's always opportunity costs. Yeah. So yeah, every little thing is you never know what decisions are going to be made. Everything's a calculated gamble on what's going to come out from any decision you make.
Yeah, and the thing about poker versus other games is like there's a percentage of it actually happening, like logistically. Yeah. Like I don't know if you play Connect Four. I don't know if you can you measure? There's not that many factors. Yeah. Like poker is like much more similar to life. And like in this move, like what's going to happen? There's so many things that could happen. What are the statistics that for the parking area, the space for a studio, you know? Yeah. Like way more factors in. Yeah. I don't know if that's just thinking of poker as like life is too philosophical, but
no, it can be. There's so many lessons in everything you could play. Yeah. Yeah. Even investing, it's gambling. We can pretend it's not. You put money and you chance. Most likely it's going to go up. You put in the S&P 500 over a long period of time. Most likely it's going to go up. It could not. Also a gamble, but you know it's a good gamble. A lot of people take, and the odds are in your favor. Yeah. So like every decision can be a gamble because nothing is really guaranteed.
Are you not in? Are you investing a lot right now?
Yeah.
Like dollar cost average, or are you still looking for
I don't try to day trade or play the game. Just put it in.
S&P mostly?
Yeah, mostly S&P, VTI, a little crypto.
Okay. Crypto? Which coins?
Just Bitcoin and ETH. Just hold. That's it. Put it as a portion.
Has it been doing pretty well?
I think it's back around 65 right now.
That's pretty good.
When we post this, it could be 30, it could be 140. You never know.
I kind of miss the research of stocks and stuff. It does take a lot of your time. Like I was doing that most of COVID. That was kind of like the main thing I was doing. Yeah, it did pretty well, but it's just too. I don't know if I want to spend my time and attention there.
No. Yeah. It doesn't feel necessarily fulfilling, and it's tough on you like emotionally to like lose this much money like right away. Like it doesn't feel good as like steady progress or like diversified assets. So even if one's down, like you're trending up in the long run.
You talk about fulfillment a lot. What's your definition or the things that fulfill you?
Yeah, I think, and I forget whose definition this was, but I've heard a lot. I really like it. Is unhappiness is when you're focused on what's missing. So I think that one when you
unhappiness is focusing on what's missing.
Yeah, like in this situation. So like you're unhappy because of where you aren't. Okay. But I think that...
So I'm unhappy because you're talking about, like, I don't have enough money. Or I'm unhappy because I feel like I'm not in good enough shape. Like, those are the things that I feel like I'm not missing.
Yeah, it could be a lot of things, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Whatever unhappiness is pretty much you're not satisfied with the current situation. You're not like happy with what is.
Okay.
So a lot of that, and the opposite would be is just like being grateful, spending time with family, being present and aware enough to do that. And then I think we all have a need to grow. So to continue to get better, to make other people's lives better. I think that is what leads to a fulfilling life, and it happens now. So like you have to enjoy the process. You're never gonna reach a point where you just hit happiness and you're done. But you really just enjoy the journey. I almost think that the pursuit is where most of the joy comes from. I think some of the saddest moments that a lot of people have, like even the Olympians, is when they hit their final goal. They're like, what now?
Or when the big business sells and goes public, right? And they're like, what do I do now?
Yeah. I think that could be some of the saddest, hardest times.
Yeah, because the progress of like, and we could just talk about working out. Like, we were both not fit at one point in our life. It could be maybe you were really young because you worked out for a long time, right? When did you start working out?
So I started lifting when I was 12.
Okay, yeah. See, I started lifting when I was like 18, 19.
Yeah.
So it was a lot later. But like when I started getting like a bicep or when I could put up like one plate on bench press, I was like, let's fucking go.
Yeah, one of the best feelings. The progress.
Yeah, that's it. And then the thing that bugs me is like I end up thinking it's normal in the sense of like me and you, we talk about protein intake or like these workouts and this and that. And sometimes I forget that most people don't understand and know it. And I'm like, oh, like that's right. Like you spend a lot of time to figure out what you know and understand your body, you know?
Yeah.
And then I realize that they don't understand the language. And it's going to take a lot of time for you to get it. Like if I tell a client to like do this movement, and I forgot that I didn't teach them that. I was oh, you don't know how to do this. Like, you know,
it happens all the time. It's funny because you just forget that everyone's not just like you.
Yeah.
Like stuff you take for granted. Stuff is just like a staple in your mind. You don't even think twice about it. You're like, oh, wow. I forgot that like you're not thinking just like me. And it's kind of funny when that happens.
Yeah, because everyone pays attention to their own career, you know? Hello, friends. I hope you are enjoying the show. I just wanted to chime in and talk to you about Bucked Up. If you need more protein in your diet, creatine to aid your muscle growth as well as recovery, or pre-workout for your demanding sets during your workouts, Bucked Up has you covered. I use their Snickerdoodle protein and creatine monohydrate every single day. And on days I don't feel like working out, their BAMF nootropic pre-workout keeps me swinging kettlebells, running mountains, moving weight inside and outside the gym. If you'd like to try them out and save some money, use code NateBiltz1 for 20% off any order. And back to the show. What brought you to, I guess, training again? Because you were big into like corporate outs after UCLA. You know, you were working at Oracle and a lot of other big companies selling shit and softwares.
This was a side project and I wanted to make an impact. So if I can make one person live healthier and happier, I think the world's better for it.
Yeah, but you could argue the opposite too. You could be like, I'm helping this company grow and they are helping their customers by XYZ, which is helping people all around the world.
Yeah, depends on the company and what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's how tangible you can make it and how it feels to you.
Yeah, so we were talking about fulfillment though.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, in the big light that you could help this company, which helps a lot of other people, versus like you just helping that one person. Why is that one person in a personal training space like online more fulfilling to you?
Yeah, I think it's just the direct feedback. So like the fact that it feels so obscure, it's like, all right, I help my company's now going to make more money, which is going to pay our bills and more people are going to be more efficient. Depends on what the company does. Like some are more mission driven, some are more software. Like my company helps people save money and like reduce fraud, and it helps people that are older not get their money stolen because it's cybersecurity or fraudulent detection. So you can get to that, but I think like as a human, I think being this person just thanked me for the fact that they have never worked out like this before, that they're happy, they're enjoyed. You go on a call and you can feel their energy. I think there's like a humanity aspect of it that like, sure, logically this one could be good, but I think you also want to balance that with like, we're humans, we're going to feel emotional. So seeing tangible results can feel good. You got to pay attention to how things make you feel.
And have you received that?
Yeah.
In this new journey?
It's been great. Yeah, it's been good so far.
You could tell the difference in your satisfaction of the job regardless of like monetary
Yeah, no, it just feels
Feels
great
good.
overall. Like you're just like, oh wow, this person's life is just better now.
Ah.
And I've spent years of honing myself and then creating tips and then to simplify it for someone else and just make it easy for them. I spent years doing it, so like why not implement how it works for them? So
Yeah.
it's cool
So
to see.
what's your process on teaching someone how to become healthy, stronger, more fit human being to conquer life?
Yeah, I mean, you start with kind of keystone habits and don't overwhelm people.
Okay.
So just make sure they can make like
Don't list the 20 thing list of like
never.
get your macros, get your walking steps, and get your sunlight. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just fundamentals and just like one habit at a time,
Yeah.
one maybe two habits at a time until it's implemented, until it takes no willpower, until it's part of their life, part of their identity. So if you can get those habits in place early, everything else grows exponentially. So that's like taking care of your sleep, taking care of water, nutrition, and then eating regularly. If you just did those things, that's the biggest part of the battle.
Eating regularly.
Or properly, healthily.
Okay.
Just not eating complete stuff that just makes you feel horrible, like sugar, a whole bunch of processed foods.
The regularly thing, though, for in the world of bodybuilding, I just have been around a lot of bodybuilders lately, and they just eat a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Not in terms of the amount of food, but often.
Frequently.
Yeah. Do you know the science behind it?
Not too well. I
Yeah.
think that, like, for at least me and my clients, I want them thinking about too many things. So, like, it doesn't matter the frequency as much. But from my understanding, you'd want to be able to have protein in your system regularly to optimize for
The
muscle
recovery.
growth. Yeah, and a recovery.
And recovery. Dang. So what's the most optimal, I guess, diet for Willie?
I like low carb, so I'm generally close
What's
to
the
keto most of
reasoning?
the time. My energy just feels better. So
So do you tell clients like this is the way, this is the only way type of deal?
not really. You gotta meet people where they're at. Because you can tell people to do a lot of things, but if they're not going to do it, it's just not viable. You just got to get them improving in a way that they agree to. They believe they can do it.
Yeah.
And then go from there. And then slowly over time, they have their beliefs rise, their confidence rises. They think they can do more. They start feeling good. And then once you feel good, then they're able to add more habits and bandwidth to continually improve.
Yeah. What's the style of training?
I'm in lifting mainly. So I have an app that can push out all the workouts. And then I'll look at it each week, see what they did last week.
So you've been using like an app?
Yeah.
Which
I
one?
like the app. It's called Everfit.
Everfit? Okay.
Yeah.
I remember you talking about it.
Yeah, it's convenient. Does the job.
Do you record your own
videos.
videos of yourself doing it?
If there isn't one already up there, if there's one already up there with instructions, I'm fine with that being there. But
Okay.
if it's not there, I just make one, show them what to do, write instructions, and like if they want to check it, want to see what you want to focus on, check the form. You just use the app too.
Why don't you want to have like yourself actually doing it? Because that's the whole part of like the branding of your training. Do you have a name for it yet?
The program, not really. Yeah, I've gone through a couple different ones. There's like a booty builder program for the girls.
Yeah.
And then I have a GG is like in my internal one, but there's so many ways you can go with.
But is there like a brand around like Willie training?
Oh, I think it's just using the Way of Willie.
The Way of Willie.
Instagram.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that. The way of Willie. Okay.
Just use that Instagram, have the emails we're going from.
Okay.
I like that one.
But
We'll
what's the
probably brand it
website
later.
name? What's the website name?
It's also Way of Willie.
The Way of Willie. Okay.
Yeah, we haven't built too much out because this is still relatively new.
Yeah.
So like right now we started an Instagram, we started helping people. We're just gonna keep getting referrals, and then down the road we'll see how we want to grow from there. But right now it's just focused on making better lives.
So what's because there's a lot of trainers out there.
Yeah.
And like I feel like you have to have a style or a niche slightly.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, most trainers could know or have the knowledge to gain strength and to lose body fat.
Yeah.
They have the knowledge, and good ones do it themselves, right? So I guess like in the Way of Willie, what is that specific style that is attractive or would be attractive to the consumer?
Yeah, I think it's more holistic for me. So being in the corporate world for 6 years with a tech job while keeping
In shape.
staying in shape, being healthy overall. And the whole focus is on living a better life with healthier habits. So the focus on habit implementation, because the workouts are pretty easy to program. If you lift weights with good form and continually to
Progressive
progressively
overload.
overload, you're good at put on muscle mass.
Yeah.
But most people's problem isn't there. It's getting to the point where they're going consistently and eating healthy. So finding ways to create habits so that you're actually getting to the point where you can do the areas is kind of the focus. We have usually check-ins weekly, and I'll talk to them and then make it easy for them. You don't have to learn all the areas. You don't have to learn about the habit creation. All you have to do is track your calories this week. Don't even change them. Just track them. Make it measurable, or just cut out these areas. It depends on where you are.
So back to like the hard tracking, like, have you had problems with them like not being able to, or not doing the homework?
Yeah, well, sometimes it depends on who you're doing it to. You can tell, you can ask them about it, how they feel about it, if they feel like they're able to. Some people, it's just like, all right, this is what needs to be done. I'm motivated. They get in the habit, and that's the only thing that you give them. And they're good. Other people, it's just like they can never see themselves doing that, and you have to do it differently. And like make it short-term temporary, say only for a week, just to look at it. We're going from there, or you can send pictures or videos, but you really have to meet the people where they're at.
Yeah. I was about to say, because there's some people who are just totally against it. Or like, I'm not tracking.
Oh yeah, there's no chance. It's like they say it's inhumane, or like they have, it just feels wrong. Like you don't pursue it for everyone.
Yeah, what's your response to that? Because obviously it's worked for you, therefore you're gonna try your best to like get them to do it.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for them. They might not be as motivated as I was. They might not like the systems and enjoy the concrete knowing of, all right, this is how many calories. If I eat this calories, I lose weight. If I eat this many, I gain weight. Some people just won't do that. So you really just have to meet them where they are and get them to agree to want it. If they want to do it, that's kind of the area. Like they have to want to make that change, or else I'm just not going to force it because they won't listen.
Yeah. For you, what is your like workout split? Like, are you very bodybuilder right now? Are you very athletic?
I lift like 3, pretty functional and bodybuilder-ish.
Okay.
So I lift 3 to 4 days a week.
Like push, pull, leg?
Just upper. So I superset push it and pull.
Okay.
So I have like 2 uppers and
2 lowers?
usually 1 to 2 lowers.
And do you switch it between like more deadlift, hamstring focused versus more squat, quad focused, or?
Just depends on the week. So yeah, I had a knee surgery, so just overall focus on like overall health. So making sure you're having proper activation. I like the knees over toes guy. He's interesting. And like stuff seems like it works. So like,
seems like
make sure you have strong glutes and like your core is contracted properly. You're mobile.
The backwards walking up a hill.
I do that.
It's really helped a lot. Yeah, doing it on a hill is kind of cool. Like I do that 2 to 3 times a week. Like there's this really steep part of the run that I usually do, and I just turn around and walk backwards for a minute.
It feels good. Like during it
helps the knees a lot, because a lot of people have knee pain and back pain and like neck pain. Yeah, it's kind of it. And they've had it for a very long time. Yeah, and if you could figure out to solve those problems, most people's lives are better.
Yeah, you're gonna be mobile. You're gonna be able to be mobile in age. Like
How was playing football at UCLA?
It was fun. It was.
Did you always want to play football?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, playing in America, that's like the number 1 sport. Just go to the NFL, and then I was very good in my youth. So going to the area is just like the dream. Go to the NFL. It's what everyone wants to do. It's where the status are. It's what the cool kids do in high school. And yeah, Dad played football, so yeah, always liked it.
Did your dad play professionally?
Yeah, about a year. Kansas City. Went to Arizona State.
Most athletes don't study math and economics, so
no, not many do.
How did you balance that out? Because like a lot of it's mostly business, communication, sociology, right?
Yeah, I mean that's how I became kind of how I am. I had to get very efficient and practical with time. That's when I first learned how to meditate, because I was optimal to taking breaks. Yeah, learned about the Pomodoro Technique.
What's that?
Setting timers. Which one?
Pomodoro.
They said so. Optimally, it's how you would take breaks. So there's different ways that they say to do it, but it could be like a 5-minute split. So intense focus for 25 minutes with a 5-minute break on something like...
It's similar to like working out though.
Similar.
Okay.
Very similar. But if you like research how to like be most effective and sustainable long-term, that's often one of the techniques.
25 and 5?
Yeah. So I did that, or like 15 minutes and 10. I would just test. A lot of times you have to test what works best for you and then go from there. But you need breaks to sustain long periods of focus on something like math. Like you can't just keep going. In long term, if you take those breaks, like your mind area, your subconscious works on stuff.
How far did you go to for math? Like past differential equations and stuff like that?
Yeah, I can remember everything. There's so many like linear algebra and like upper proof dev. So
why did for business and economics and everything like that, you kind of just need arithmetic. Like you don't really need to do calculus. Like, I don't know. I was really good all the way up until differential equations, linear algebra. And then once it got to the proofs, like I got like C's and D's on tests.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? Like I thought calculus was sick. But the only thing is because there's a definite answer.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't know why I liked math at the time. It's just like, oh, like there's a difficult problem. You could solve it.
There's an answer.
There's an answer. And it's not like all over the place. It's not ubiquitous. It's for sure factual answer based on the years of theories and studies that all these other people have done, right? And I guess for you, like, what was the reasoning to learn all this math and stuff? Like, because most people go in for engineering or
yeah.
I
mean, I liked it. It was math and economics, so it was something I wanted to. I think it would have been actually tough for me to switch into the engineering school, especially with the football workload. So I mean, it was 40. You have a full hour. You have a full-time job when you're playing football at a D1 college. And then I have to switch into the engineering thing, which I need like a 3.5 in the prereqs.
Okay.
And I just didn't have the time to like compete, I don't think.
Yeah.
So it was a good mix of that. And then I like math. I feel like it would be useful to the areas. It was something I did good in. And kind of went with that.
Yeah. What was UCLA work, like football, like in terms of the day-to-day practices and the amount of time like needed to do well in sport?
Yeah, I mean, if you're uninjured, I think we had our first lift at 5:45. So you'd want to get there like 20, 30 minutes early.
Okay.
Make sure you're warm, or make sure you work on any injuries you have. Then you would go straight to practice. Then you have practice probably till like 9 or 8:30 to be showering. You go up to class. So it's like 6 to 9 in the morning. Then you'd come back. And sometimes the lift, depending on the season, but you might start at like 4, then go to like 7, and that's
just twice a day.
So that's on film. So afternoon, you're watching a couple hours of film
on
like your other teams and seeing what they're going to be doing, and then Friday's going to be a travel day, and you stay either in a hotel if it's a home game or away game. You got to fly, stay in the hotel the night before, and then a lot of it's just like commuting and spending time like that.
It's like every week. I mean, every day though, like Monday through Friday.
Pretty much, yeah. You have that schedule Monday through Friday, and then Saturday's game day, so you're just at the game for a long period of time, going there, coming back. And then Sunday, usually we'll have film in the morning. It'll be shorter, and then you'll film, and then you'll usually like do some kind of workout in the morning just to get the blood going and to recover. And then you have part of the Sunday off, and then you go back to it Monday.
What was the percentage of athletes who like fucked around in terms of like they went out and did the thing, but also showed up early morning practice and did the thing versus like the athletes who went to bed at a reasonable hour, got their good sleep, and did the same thing?
Yeah. I think the vast majority are doing the right things. People, yeah. Some people can, and it just depends on who you are. Some don't. Some people can go out all night, barely sleep, go up and still put out.
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting to see that people do, but not everyone's made like that.
So a good amount, or most of them, like did the thing. Like,
yeah. I'd say the vast majority are going to take care of their sleep, going to eat generally healthy, and just be like reasonable. At least during the season. In the off season, maybe they do a little more partying, and like still people at college having a good time. And it's more on the weekends is what you would try to do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is it how offset? Do you know who Patty is from the UFC? Patty Pimlet. So he gets absolutely shredded.
Yeah.
And he fucks people up like heavily, but he loves just like junk food. And he turns into a different person. Like he gets extremely fat.
Yeah.
Extremely fat. And then like turns on the switch, gets lean as fuck within like 3 months, fucks someone up, and then gets fat again.
Yeah.
You know?
That's some people's minds are just made like that.
I just don't know if it's like overall healthy though. Like I don't know if like I want to change that, like your body that many times. You know, I don't know. I look at actors or like Matthew McConaughey, he got like 112 pounds, like super skinny for one movie, and then jumping up like 60 pounds, like similar to Christian Bale, Batman versus Ford versus Ferrari or whatever, you know? And I'm just like, yo, like what's that doing?
I don't know. It doesn't seem healthy to me either, but that's their profession. That's their line of work.
Yeah. I don't know. What has football taught you?
I think to focus on what you can. So, I mean, my freshman year, I tore my ACL, and like it was a completely fluke accident during practice, nothing you can expect. And then you never know if you're going to come back normal. So I think that That's when I really started eating healthy and just realizing all you can do is focus on what you can control. There's going to be life that happens, but just play the cards you're dealt. And that's how you got to live life. There's no other way. You can play it perfectly. Things can mess up, or you can get lucky too. So I think that just focusing on what you can control, being the best you can be, is a very valuable skill.
How did you develop that mindset?
I think it comes through just realizations over time.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I didn't mess up. You didn't necessarily deserve this. Life isn't necessarily fair. So I think that over time, you just realize, oh, it's calming and it feels better just to focus on, just like, all right, I can't control that. It's not worth my mental bandwidth or thinking about. Yeah. So let's focus on what we can do.
Yeah, it's very optimistic. It's a very admirable trait that, like, I feel not a lot of people have unless they've gone through, like, for me, it's like a lot of self-help books that I've just like binged through, and you look back at it now and you think that's just normal information. But as that 19-year-old kid, you're like, oh,
yeah,
you know, like, oh, this is what I'm dealt. I just got to focus on and get better at it, and then my life will improve. You know, versus now you're just like, that's, you know, it's just normal.
Yeah.
Like, but a lot of people will not go through that phase of the ton of help reading books and stuff. And then I don't know, did you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in college because I was trying to just balance that workload all together.
Yeah.
So you find ways to optimize and to go from there.
I didn't pay attention to my math books, bro. That's why I had to switch to sociology.
Yeah.
Because I was just reading self-help books all day. Like, I was reading 4 Hour Work Week, like, instead of my math textbook.
That's funny.
And so did you read it, right?
4 Hour Work Week?
Yeah.
I don't think I finished that one, actually. I think I started, but I didn't finish that one.
Okay. There's early in the book talks about getting a hold of people, like networking wise, and how to get a hold of anybody type of deal. Like, and there was a study that Tim Ferriss brought to Harvard and was like, hey, I'll give anyone an all expense trip if they could get a hold of a super high-end person that they would like to desire. And the first time, basically no one tried because they didn't think it was possible. And the second time, he was like, I'm not giving this trip out because no one tried. And so then everyone tried, and almost a lot of people got it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the effort. And after reading that, I didn't have a ton of skill sets at the time. And I hit up all the biggest podcasts and businesses owners that I knew. And I got a hold of a lot of their assistants and stuff. And I got these like interviews and stuff. They're like, oh yeah, like I'll hire you 40 hours a week. And I was like, oh, I'm in school, like studying this and that. And they're like, okay, what skills do you have? I was like, I don't know. I'm willing to do anything. Yeah. And listening like Hormozy and stuff like that. Just like, you're not valuable to me if you don't have any skills. So it put shit in perspective, like, oh, I got to go learn shit. Yep. Because I'm not a valuable human being because I don't have any skills.
Yeah. I'm not valuable to others.
What do you mean?
Like sometimes you have intrinsic value.
Sure.
Yeah.
100%.
But like, yeah, you're right. Like you don't have the skills to like
help
create
grow
value.
this business, or I don't have the editing skills to help you with your podcast. I don't understand how a podcast works yet. Yeah. So like I cannot help you, you know? Like versus now, if I had that interview at 19, right? Be like, oh, I could help sound engineer. I could help edit your videos. I could, you know, like I got very valuable in that space, you know? And I'm just like, oh, like that's just how everything is. Like everything's a skill. We were talking about it earlier. Yeah. And you're your biggest asset, you know, true. Like if you're trying to make an impact on the world, make an impact on yourself. Like, what do you want to learn? And then teach it. Because if you can teach it, then
it's the best way of learning too.
Best way of learning. Yeah. So I guess with the health and stuff, you truly understand it once you could articulate it in a way that someone else understands it as well.
Yeah, simply.
Yeah.
People that really know areas can explain it in a way that a fifth grader could understand.
Yeah. Why should what did sports competitively at a college level teach you about, I guess, like competition in life? Because there's a lot of people who don't play sports.
Yeah. When it comes to competition, the purpose is it brings out the best in you. So it kind of goes back to what you can focus on, like when you're competing.
So it's not to win. You don't think it's
winning is part of it, but I think like the way that you win is the way you understand, and like what good competitors do is they bring it back to themselves. They focus on themselves and being the best that they can be. And I think that when you're being pushed, when you have other people around, when you're in an environment like that, it gets you to be the best that you can be for yourself. And you're also part of a team and working towards a common goal, which is also helpful in life, to be part of something that's more than yourself. And you're not necessarily always selfish. You have other people who depend on you, who need you. And then those are some of the best experiences that you have in life, is just joking around with your team and being part of something. And I think that's something that a lot of people are missing nowadays, is that feeling of belonging. So when you have
teamwork, family, community, right?
Yeah, I think it's very important there.
That's something that I feel like I've just finally curated in LA. Because I don't know about you, like life's like really a single player game.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of shit can happen. Like someone could break up with you, or like this friend could not like you anymore. And I always thought, I just got to do it by myself. Like the thing is, most big businesses or companies, they're built with huge teams, right? And just the amount of support that you were there for my birthday.
Yeah.
Last year. I was like, dang, this many people showed up.
Yeah.
Because I usually don't do a big birthday. I don't really like birthdays at all, because I just don't know why. I just don't like birthdays at all. And then my friend was like, no, you should throw something. I was like, okay, I put it out. And I was like, whoa, a lot of people are here.
Yeah.
I was like, that's sick. And then just building that sense of community, people who like listen to you, who are happy for your successes and like will be there for you when you're down. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be family, you know, and sometimes friends are more important than family.
Yeah, you chose them.
Yeah. It's because they have the same qualities that you desire, want to be more like. I don't know. Is that kind of selfish? Like most of the friends that I have, like I admire and want to be more like, you know?
I think that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a balance there, and like you bring different parts to different people's lives, and they bring different parts to yours.
Yeah. We were talking about you have the calendar, not the calendar.
The countdown.
The countdown.
Yeah.
Explain
for motivation, mortality. So you calculate where you are, how old you are, and the expected life value. And then you have only so many days left. And
okay. So what's the average life based?
I think I was looking at the US, and for men, it might have been like 75 or 77.
Okay. So what did you do? 75, 77?
I think I did 77. And then there's also an app you can use.
Okay.
So you think about, all right, I'm 30 now. So that's what percent of 70?
Okay. That's
75. That's like whatever, 30s, 40%.
Yeah, 40-something
and then
percent. Yeah.
You can track how many days left you have.
So how many days?
I have it on the app. I'll show you.
What's important about, why is it motivating? Why is that motivating to you? Because there are a lot of people that could just be scary.
Yeah.
And they don't want to look at it.
So I think it's just remembering this. It brings perspective to the trials and tribulations of each day. 16,412.
That doesn't seem like that many.
No?
Yeah.
No, we talked about that too with like how many weeks, like the 4,000 weeks book.
Yeah.
That's how long most people typically have. And I think we can get so caught up in the day-to-day of the stresses of unnecessary areas that we get off purpose and forget that how valuable the time we have and how awesome it is that we are in fact alive right now. That's also not promised.
Yeah.
Those days aren't promised at all. You never know.
Yeah.
It could be a lot shorter, but like right now we're alive, we're here, we're safe. We get to see our friends and family. So I think it's important to put everything in perspective and be like, all right, I want to live a good life. And there's no point in me stressing about this unnecessarily. This isn't worth my time. I don't want to be here, so I only have so much time to change it. And it puts in perspective, and it creates more urgency to do what you want to do and achieve, or just enjoy the moment. Like if we only have so many of them, why would I not enjoy the one right now and be appreciative for what we got?
I agree a lot with all those statements. There's a lot of people who are, I guess religious people too. They're like, oh, it's all going to be good. Like, it's eternally will be good, you know?
Yeah.
And I read the book, The Denial of Death, and we were talking about earlier on the trail today that I had a client, his wife would be like, oh, I'm going to do that next year, or next time you go there, I'll do that with you, or we'll go on that camping trip like once the kids are out of college, you know, or that vacation when we don't have a puppy, you know. And now they're extremely old, or not extremely, but pretty elderly, and she's never done it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dang, like to have that mindset that you will always have more time is robbing you, I believe.
I agree.
You know?
It's the most precious thing that you have. And to not see its value seems like a disservice. And even if you are religious, your time, maybe there's a heaven or like reincarnation, but your time in this life is limited.
Yeah.
So you should make the most of it, be appreciative of it, enjoy it, savor it while it lasts, because it blinks and then it's all over. Just like think about how long ago 10 years ago felt.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
You know?
And it just gets faster and faster the older we get.
Yeah. Do you ever go back to like old places and you're like, dang, I can't believe, like last time I went home, I drove by my high school and I saw the track, and we had a golf coach that was a Marine. And so he made us do like plows on the track for like golf. Like we're doing like high jumps.
Jacked golfers of all time.
Well, it's just crazy. Like he had this thing that if you're 5 minutes early, you're 15 minutes late. So 5 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late. So we always have to be 15 minutes early. And if we weren't, we do like laps around the fucking parking lot for golfers, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is crazy. And just having that nostalgia feeling, it feels like yesterday, but that's over 12 years ago. You know, like, whoa. And the memories that you have are they're fleeting too. Like you only have some of them. You're like, wow, like I was a totally different person back then too.
Yeah.
Like the beliefs that you had, the problems that you had.
The stuff you thought about your day to day, like
totally different.
It was wild.
Yeah, because like back then you're worried about like judgments of like social pressures of like a teenage kid.
Being cool.
Yeah, being cool.
Yeah.
But
brain's
then,
not developed yet.
But also, like, what is that? You know, like now you're like, what is being cool? Like, you know, it's like kind of whatever you want it to be, because based on your interests. You know, back then it was like, that guy's a star quarterback, or you know, and you're like, why am I thinking about that? You know,
and they're just navigating changes and like social dynamics you're not used to.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much.
Do you think about? Have you contemplated the question of like, what is the meaning of life at all?
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I think it changes over time. If I said the meaning, everyone gets to choose their meaning.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing technically intrinsically valuable, which means we get to assign it to whatever we want. So I think that is going to be dependent on the person, and you don't know what's going to happen after this. But I think enjoying the ride, the ups and the downs of life is generally a pretty good idea. So you want to enjoy the ups, enjoy the downs, help some people grow, and just try to savor the moments you can.
Have you heard of the concept called Agrippa's trilemma? So it's basically like the questions of kind of like, what is the meaning of life? The answers will lead into like three directions. One is like a pretty big axiom. So for example, it's because of God, right? Which God? Or why, like Judeo-Christian God. Okay, why that one?
Yeah.
It's just like why? So it goes into infinite regress. Like you could just keep asking the same question over and over and over again. Like this is the reason why, because why is that? You know, and it just kind of gets annoying.
Yeah.
Like
just keep asking, that's why.
Yeah, that's why. And then the second it could be is it's because of A. Why A? Because of B. Like what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
You know, and you just kind of get in that same cyclical style. And then the last one is like an axiom, like of why, because of God or because of science, or you know.
Yeah.
And it's usually only those three that you get stuck to, but it's the process of going through that question that makes you think about what's important to you.
Yeah.
And the reason that you do the things that you do. You know. So I've been thinking about that just like for years, but there's a lot of people who just mindlessly go through their day to day and don't even think about it.
Yeah, a lot of very overwhelmed people that don't get the time, the perspective, they're caught up, and then they're overwhelmed, they're dopamine stimulated, and they're straight to Instagram and being influenced again without really thinking about the fulfillment that they're.
Yeah, we're talking about this. What do you think the healthy screen time is?
It's an interesting question. I think if it doesn't interfere with your life negatively, it's going to be different for each person. But some people like will not feel motivated to pursue goals that are going to make their life better at a certain amount. It might not be the same amount of screen time, but the dopamine that they get is so much easier than like putting in the work. So whatever amount that is for you, it could be different. Some people can actually go 20 minutes, like, all right, I'm done. I'm gonna go back to this, live a happy life. Some people, like, if they do 20 minutes, they're gonna do 30 minutes, they're gonna do an hour. They're not gonna be able to switch. They're not gonna feel motivated and good. So it really does just depend on the person, also on how strong the person's why is. If you don't have a strong why, it's often easier to distract yourself, to pacify some of the thoughts, insecurities, and everything else than it is to put in the work. So it really depends on
I guess
the
coming
person.
from the other aspect, for example, like I believe me and you are really hard workers, and we're going into a space that is like more content driven, and so that is more technological driven, which is also like payment processing. It's a lot of it's on your phone, or like clients if you're FaceTiming them, or it's a lot of screen time there. And like I have a friend who's like makes most of her money from social media now.
Yeah.
And her screen time is like anywhere between 12 and 16 hours per day. And I was just like, is that where I'm going towards? Like that's a lot of time looking at screen time,
Yeah.
and regardless if it's for work or not, and so that's different from what you said. It's like you're kind of putting it in the negative light of are you going on Instagram? Are you watching movies? Are you playing games? Like from the other side, it's like, is that healthy?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I think it goes down to the intent
Yeah.
on how you're doing it. Like if you're intentionally working, if you feel connected, if you feel refreshed, if you feel good afterwards, I mean, it's way different than a lot of people looking at their phone and be like, oh, fuck, I just wasted an hour.
Yeah.
But like, if you're doing this, and you're like, oh, this is a great day. I made so many connections. I have these meetings. I got these new clients. It's way different, like what you're doing and how you're doing it than like just looking at the screen time alone. Doesn't say big enough picture.
I would say like I feel good most of the times, like even if I see the high screen time, but like I'm just like, is that good for your brain seeing like, I don't know, the blue light? And, like,
just staring at a screen or what we're made to. We don't know. It's relatively new.
We were talking about what future generations.
I think it's crazy today.
Yeah, what thinks crazy today? And what were we saying?
Like there's so many, let's say like 50 years ago, like we thought it was crazy that they would smoke so much, like it was on TV, like it was everywhere. Like we thought that was crazy nowadays.
Yeah.
And like I'm curious, like what now, 50 years from now, they're gonna think it's like, wow, I can't believe they did that there.
I think even our generation, looking back at what we had in the early days, like CDs or the tapes. Like I remember rewinding a tape of The Lion King.
Yeah.
And then putting a Lion King tape. Yeah, VHS tape, and then we still had, like my dad had a Walkman.
Yeah.
Like, we lived in a generation we still had the ending
I know,
part.
we did have a
barely. And then we also had the TV, like the Disney Channel day, where like, oh, you ready to watch that show? And you're like running to your couch, jumping over because it only happens one time.
Yeah, you'd miss it. You have the commercials. You'd be like, someone call you, like, oh, commercial's over. It's like you run back.
Yeah, so like, there's so much content out there now, and like it's hard to like stay present in it.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah, I barely watch movies now because like I'll throw a movie on, like, oh, this is boring already.
Yeah.
Like I'll switch to the next one.
Our attention span is wrecked.
And I'm just like, dang. But the one thing that I can listen to is like a 3-hour conversation, right?
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, clearly it's not our attention span fully.
But can you do that while sitting still?
I do while driving.
That's not sitting still.
I could be
like when you're watching a movie, you're sitting still and you're like engaged there.
Yeah.
But like when driving, you're still paying attention. You're still doing something.
Oh, okay.
So like it's more engaging. Like it's in the background, but it's good. It's like you're doing overall. Like you still have to adjust to the road. You're still paying attention. You're still aware. But if you just sat and tried to listen to that, I think it would be difficult.
Yeah. I think music is gonna be the only thing that I could just lie down and listen to, like a record.
Yeah.
And just go that through, or like go to a concert and like just
It's
appreciate it. Is there anything else that you can just do, just like sitting down?
I mean, reading, games, those are very engaging activities.
Okay.
But yeah, just listening. I mean, talking with friends too is very engaging. You just do that while sitting down.
What's the importance of, I guess, reading to you?
I think it's valuable to get other people's insights. I think audiobooks are fine too. But you pretty much are getting connection with a friend of a very, like, you can choose the person that you're going to be spending time with, and it's going to be influencing you. Like you're going to be like the people you spend your time with. You're pretty much getting time with this person that you can choose, that other people have chosen, and can often spread valuable insights.
And it's like their life lessons and their, Hormozy says it a lot. It's you could get the lesson without the scar. Like I was reading, I think my favorite book in 2021 was Shoe Dog.
Oh yeah,
Phil Knight's book.
Yep, right up there.
Yeah, it's up there. And his story of just like starting Nike at 27 years old and not getting it, he didn't make any money of it until it went like public, really, like 7 whatever years later. And I'm like, oh, like we feel like we're behind all the time. And it really puts it in perspective, because like society just shows, our social media shows like, oh, the guy with whatever, the
Just like the
role.
20-year-old who just started his $1 billion business and has 30 years of work experience. Like,
Why does the algorithm push that shit? Because I think it fucks with people. Also the beauty too. Like there's I couldn't imagine being like a girl because like there's so many pretty girls that are on these apps and stuff.
Even the girls that are those girls don't look like they're girls too.
100%, right?
Yeah,
but
it's
like
brutal.
I couldn't imagine comparing myself to a jacked dude. Like I'm like, sometimes I'm just like, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I'm not like jealous totally. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, oh, I could get fit. And I don't aspire to have a bigger bicep.
Yeah.
I mean, like to that extent, you know?
That's good.
Oh, do you?
I mean, like if you compare yourself and you look at things like you think you're not that like fit or jacked.
Okay.
If you make those comparisons.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty happy with my body overall.
Okay.
But like if you pay attention to it and like I'm been looking at bodybuilders or I'm looking at fitness influencers, I don't feel like I'm in that great a shape.
You were talking about
Even
like
though I'm
roids
top,
and
like,
stuff.
1%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't want to be like think about doing that. There's no point to like taking steroids or growing.
Yeah.
But comparison is gonna be the thief of joy.
For sure.
And also the algorithms will give us what we give them our attention. And humans forever are more trained towards negativity. So that's what they're counterbalancing. Like the person who is pessimistic and be like, oh, that rock could be a cougar. He's gonna be anxious, but he'll survive if that actually like happens compared to the person just like happy and content.
The rock could be a cougar.
So let's say like in the hunter-gatherer days, like you see something in the distance and it actually is a rock, but you're like, oh, that could be something scary.
Okay.
But the person who's just like, oh, that's a rock, whatever, is more likely to not have survived those days.
Yeah.
So we have a bias towards anxiety and like seeing worst case scenario. And
It's in our
visualizing
DNA.
that. Yeah.
In that sense.
Same with news. The news, like it's gonna be something that triggers you because it gets your attention.
Yeah.
Like a whole bunch of people die in this horrific way, gets way more attention. Like, oh, everything's good and people are happy.
Yeah.
Like no one's gonna look at that news article. Like these people here are happy, things are good.
Yeah.
Same with everything else that's triggering on a lot of social media, and it feeds us what we ask of it.
I feel like ignorance is truly bliss in that sense of, I don't pay attention to any news.
Yeah.
And I feel like an asshole sometimes though. Like, do you think we're required or it's part of our like civil duty to like be on top of politics and stuff? Because like back to the helping that one person thing, I'm just like, I won't be able to control everything that's going on in Israel and whatever is going on. I can't really articulate it well, so I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I know that if I help my client today and she or he has a bad day and this workout makes him a healthier, happier human being and it starts his day right for him to like better his life in his world, I know I made an impact and therefore I am happy, you know? Like that's where I think about it. And then sometimes I'm just like, like maybe I should like know everything that's going on with this policy and X policy.
I mean, does that knowledge make the world better? Does it make you better?
That's the thing.
Are you more happy? Are you more motivated? Are you empowered?
I think I'm fighting with that in the sense of like, if I was more educated in those spaces, like would it impact my life positively? Like knowing, I don't know.
I mean, like, if we're being reasonable, is the knowledge of all the horrific things in the world going to can you do anything about them?
Most likely not.
Is it going to put you in a mental state where you're empowered and ready to do more in your life?
I totally understand where you're coming from, but yeah, I mean, no.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. And like, I know, because we also have a thing, like we want to be educated. I think it's important to know what's going on in the world, but like also you have to take care of yourself. If this isn't helping you live a better life and you can't change it, it is only adding negativity. And like if it's important, like sure you should be aware of areas where you can make a difference, like if you're gonna vote or like something there, it's important to know. But if you can't make a difference on the knowledge and the knowledge is only doing bad to you, it's not adding to the life that you want and it's not helping the world be better.
I think about this concept in sports too though.
Yeah.
Like when everyone's talking about, oh yeah, that football game. And like when you said like football is the number one sport, I totally get it. But I also just like don't enjoy watching football.
No, it's
like
not for me.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
I don't, but like sometimes I feel like pressure, like, dang, I should have watched that game so I could understand and relate to this guy. But that's the reason why I like talking to you a lot. It's because like you're one of the only people who enjoys talking about business. Like most people just like don't, they're like, whatever, like I don't get it.
Yeah, you gotta find your people. Like if you're not, you don't have to necessarily adjust to everyone.
Yeah.
Like If you don't enjoy it, like if you enjoy interacting with people, I think it can have value. Like you feel like you're more connected, you feel part of it, and that makes you feel good. Sure, it's worth it. Like maybe you don't necessarily like that, but you enjoy being around people.
Yeah.
Great. You're fine. You're happy. You feel areas. You don't necessarily have to like that to like the results of it. But yeah, it is interesting thinking about like if it's worth staying informed or like completely just not knowing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's back to attention, you know? So what's your fitness goals now? Like you were powerlifting for a while?
Generally, I like being strong.
Okay.
Just generally being healthy. I think I'm gonna get more cut right now.
Okay.
Probably need to start posting more content.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you have to be like if you want to sell a healthy lifestyle,
you have to stay very healthy.
you have to stay very healthy in
Yeah.
the sense of like pretty lean to like sell it. Like versus like you bulked up trying to sell a product is not going to do as well as you lean
Yeah.
selling product, even
true.
though you might know everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's just how it works. And there could be a case to be said about like body positivity and just like, all right, this is realistically what can be done. No steroids. Like this could be good. But like also it doesn't sell as much.
Yeah.
So you have to be like aware of that.
Back to marketing and sales, bro. They're really selling the plus size stuff, or they were the last few years.
Yeah.
Like big is healthy type of deal, like live in your own body. But like scientifically, bro, like your blood pressure goes up, like you have a higher chance of like heart disease. Like,
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm all about it, like sure, but also like it's just not healthy.
No, it's that balance. Like sure, you should love yourself. Like that's valuable. And in this moment, you should love yourself. And also you have to have the nuance to understand that having a high BMI increases your risk of an early death and decreases your energy. That doesn't mean you're not valuable as a human. That doesn't mean you can't be happy. But those are unhealthy when there comes to obesity. And there's like levels to it. Because like there was a time where just extremely unhealthy, the other way was seen as health. So I think that
like
we almost
skinny.
swung. Like you're like way too skinny. Like
Yeah.
girls are like missing their periods. Like it isn't like healthy for that area.
Like supermodels, bro. Like I have a friend who was a supermodel and she literally just ate maybe 800 calories a day.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
And that was like what we saw as beauty. So like that's what people were pursuing, and that's
100%.
healthy. And I think that sometimes you have to sway the other way to find a natural equilibrium and be like, all right, body's okay. Everyone's deserving of love. And if you're over 30% BMI, you have a higher risk of heart disease.
Yeah, there's facts.
Yeah.
You know, how does the one back to sales and marketing though? Like it's crazy that they sold that though.
Yeah.
Like to the world that's okay. It is okay. Like in terms of like you being a good human, but in terms of like we want more people around for a longer period of time and to be healthy.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they make more money if you can get people to feel good and be a trigger.
Yeah.
Like if you can make more money off of them, one with healthcare, you could treat it so that you're going to be not necessarily treating the problem, but the symptoms.
Yeah.
So you have so the healthcare can get more money out of this person as they get older.
Yeah.
And then two, if you can sell it to them, so that people will buy your product who are a little bigger. Like if that's going to sell them, they're going to buy it. You're gonna make more money.
And then it just increases the problem.
Yeah.
How do we solve the food stuff, bro? Because when you walk into a grocery store, you can't buy most of the stuff to be healthy.
Yeah. And it's more expensive.
Yeah.
Way more expensive. And it's a cultural.
What's more expensive? Healthy food?
Unhealthy. Yeah. Healthy food is more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way more expensive. And it's not the default. And we have the most obesity that we've had. But we can also just look at what other countries do. Like a lot of the European countries bans a whole bunch of the preservatives and unhealthy stuff that we have.
I saw like some photos on Instagram like a long time ago of like the same ketchup, same Heinz ketchup, different ingredients here versus Europe. I'm just like, why is that though? Like just because it's slightly cheaper?
Well, they have different banned chemicals. So like they really just ban stuff that we don't.
Oh.
So they literally can't sell what we have. And we have a lot of lobbyists that make a lot of money off that area. And it's cheaper to do it this way.
Yeah.
Like they just wouldn't make as much money, and they've lobbied to prevent that in the same way. So there's like a whole healthcare area because you can treat someone, and then it's cheaper. I think like a lot of the corn and like high fructose corn syrup, a classic U.S. item that's in so many things.
Well, it's just because we have so much corn too.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't isn't used.
Yeah, no, it's just gonna be going to the topic, and we like subsidized it, so like it's going into a whole bunch of stuff. Horrible for us. But it's in so many of the areas, and like Europe has just banned that, and they probably pay more in the short term, but have better outcomes in the long term.
Bro, I have a farmer buddy in my hometown, and he was paid not to farm, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
So that really fucks with my brain in terms of agriculture and what the government's doing.
Yeah. Why did they pay him not to farm?
I think
just like the land to let the land like get reused, or
no, like the land wasn't used at all.
Okay.
And I think
like margins of the food up or something.
Yeah, margins of food up to higher demand, less supply, and like they want people to eat something else maybe.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know. I'm like, why is that?
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
interesting.
It's like big moves behind the scene that normal people don't pay attention to, you know. And like I never really thought about it until like COVID, when we were out of like certain things. I was like, oh, like we are so dependent on like these infrastructures of farming, of like government farming type of deal. Like they're making the decisions for us. Like we're not growing our own plants, and like what are they putting on it, you know? And like what types of meats are we having? And that's why like try to figure out, does organic mean like the best for you? I don't know. I mean,
it's hard.
Or is it all just a sales thing? Everyone has their own opinion. What is right?
Yeah.
You know, and I've just, we've both tried to navigate based on like our ideals and beliefs, but like at the end of the day, like we don't truly know.
No.
Yeah.
That's all you can do is best guess.
How do you get your best guess usually? Where do you get your information from?
You have to check multiple sources.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to know, like, especially with all the stuff online. You search and it could be paid site, could be Reddit. Reddit usually has short answers, but like,
okay, can you explain to me Reddit? Because like I don't really know. I'm not a big Reddit guy.
Okay. I mean, I've been on it for a while. It's more mainstream now, which is fine. But it's a social media platform where the users typically have longer answers with sources.
Okay.
For questions and like threads. And
so do you have
topics.
like a Willie profile on Reddit?
Yeah, you can have I mean, actually had to stop because I felt like I was spending too much time on it and it wasn't helpful.
Okay.
But yeah, if you want to search something and you just click Reddit, often the answer isn't a 3-page article that's optimized for Google SEO. It could just be like one answer, one line, here's the source. So I like that efficiency when it comes to it compared to often I feel like Google now. It's so SEO optimized that like it's annoying to get a quick answer to a certain thing, and you have to read an entire article that breaks down the history of.
But you could just go on Reddit and type in a question. You don't need to have like a profile.
You can just Google it. So you just like Google the question, add Reddit, and like that's often a faster way that I Google stuff. Okay. You do have to make sure the sources are fine. Yeah. But like if it's something that has like opinion based, you can hear a thread, a conversation on it. It's typically, I would say, more men. I would say more young men who are like maybe nerdier or more on computers.
Looking for answers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just a big community now at this point. They have like channels for any type of whatever you'd want to watch, like whatever you want. So like they have organized areas and like anything you'd want. Like you want a bodybuilding formula, if you want fat loss, fasting, like funny memes, pictures.
So you kind of use it as like a search engine.
You can use it as a search engine, and then like there's a new content being created on a regular basis with like a pretty good ranking system, I would say.
Ranking how so?
Just like it's easy for them to find interesting stuff for you. Like there's like a mildly interesting subreddit, or you can create your own. Like it's relatively good monitored and decently good for finding information.
Where do you think the places of AI is going to be used in, like, I guess, our space?
Yeah, I think that it's already being used. Like if you start looking at Google now, you can already see some of the AI responses.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so early in the process.
Do you use it at all?
Not too much. Like I'm looking for ways to implement it more, and it just has so much utility. It's got to find where its utility can be.
I just started using it for like descriptions for courses. So for example, I'm building like the funnel, right? For a business. Like you have to give something free basically to, I don't know, get their email. And so like I'm building a like basic kettlebell just course to give out for free.
Yeah.
And like, hey, ChatGPT, this is the description that I use for like a traditional ballistic kettlebell swing. Make it better.
Yeah.
You know? And then yesterday I used it because I'm just trying to use the tools that we have.
Yeah.
Because
Experiment with it, or
there's definitely going to be there. I know that there's a lot of big companies using these tools and using it in a way that is making it their products and services and their marketing way better.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't use it, it's going to like we're going to be at a skill deficiency.
Yeah.
Because they're using it and we're not,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so like, I was like, hey, ChatGPT, please write me a letter telling me I'm moving out of my apartment, you know? And then they wrote it and I was like, okay, can you do it shorter, more professionally and whatever? And then it pulls it up. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I use it and then it worked out perfectly to like the transaction of went really well.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, am I getting dumber? You know, since I'm not using my brain to compose a proper email that I know I'm capable of composing myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's like when they said you won't have calculators on you all the time, but you literally have a calculator on you
all the
at all times.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to have that ability. And if you're going to have the ability to have ChatGPT finding uses for it, it's great. It's good at summarizing stuff too.
Did you see the new Apple update for notes for math?
Oh, how you going to write in it?
Like you could write the log of something.
Yeah.
Like you could do a calculus equation and it'll solve it for you.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know if that's going to be beneficial for like people in the math field because like
it's more tools. Like you have more tools to your ability. And I think like you have to know that it works. Like you have to have done it to be able to do it quickly. To be able to use it well. Same with code. Like I was talking with programmers about it. Like you have to know how to program to use ChatGPT to write code for you.
Okay.
Like you have to have had the skills to be able to cheat the system. So
do you code at all?
No, I learned I think some Python and C+ in college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think it's important?
Yeah.
To like learn as a business owner?
Oh no.
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 Like you could hire it out.
Yeah.
Outsource it.
I think so.
Okay.
Like if you have that skill already, I think it's if you can go back in time and like change your degree, it could be very viable. Start your own company, get some good SaaS revenue, and go from there.
Yeah.
If you go back in time, but it depends kind of where you are and how much time you have to dedicate to it, because it can take a while to get to the point where you have the skills that can be monetizable or useful.
Because there's a lot of people who learn it, but they don't know it well enough to actually do anything with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's the future plans for Way of Willie?
So we'll continue to grow. I think keep our clients, get referrals.
I guess for you,
from there.
like, do you want a brick and mortar? Is it just going to be online? Like, what's the vision of it?
So I think it's very skill based, and right now, I think being able to create content, being able to help people find ways to do it efficiently, share. It's also more of a passion thing. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be what I want to make all my money from. It doesn't have to be, but if I'm helping people in the short term, I think it's a good project to learn skills. So I'm still in that early phases. The content grind is very grindy, which I'm noticing, but I'm still like learning how to all the.
Have you put anything out yet?
Just start posting stuff on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, like I put the Trader Joe's calories per dollar. I'm probably gonna put like a Costco calories per dollar calculator out.
Did you?
And let's get more consistent.
Did you put a video of it? I don't think I saw.
Yeah, I have a short for the Trader Joe's one.
How much time did you put into it?
It takes way longer than you think it should. Like, it's horrible. It takes way longer, and like I researched like what top people are doing to kind of understand. Like people's attention spans are so short.
Sure.
So just like learning how to optimize and like cutting between scenes and.
Have you read like Hermosi's like content strategies on offers?
I mean, let me see. I'm part way through offers, and like I know you want to create it generally once, but like I'm still like fundamentally
leads.
There's offers and leads. I haven't read leads yet.
Okay, so basically the content strategy for leads is like you have a hook, right? So it's like whatever it is for you. It's like a protein per whatever you were talking about, and then retain is basically something entertaining, something whatever inside that keeps them engaged for whatever time, and then at the end it's like a reward. What did they get out of it?
Yeah.
Right. And to hit all three is pretty freaking difficult.
Yeah, reward's interesting.
Yeah, it's like, so my biggest content that I consume is going to be a lot of health stuff, a lot of motivational podcast stuff, and that's really it.
Yeah.
Like that's most of my
Like funny
content.
memes too, or like some kind of funny YouTube video.
And like comedy, like some shit that's entertaining. So like most content is either entertaining, informational, you get something out of it. You need the reward, or else no one's gonna watch through the whole thing. So like most of the fitness stuff that I see, it's like the hook is a crazy move.
Yeah.
It's like a kettlebell flip or something. Like, oh, that's crazy. And then the retain is them describing it. And then the reward is like, now try it on your own. And like, I'm encouraged to go do it my own and then make it a skill of mine.
Yeah.
You know? So I've been trying to frame it that way. And that's what mostly content is in a SOP type of like strategy.
Yeah. And it depends like why you're creating the content too. Do you want to grow? Do you want clients? Do you want to attract like-minded people?
Yeah.
Because I think I've noticed it is different just to like get views versus collect people that you think would be good for you.
What's the goal for you?
I want to be able to present information in a way that people can digest it very easily and effectively. So if I can help my friends, followers, like improve their lives, like something that helped me, like the spreadsheet, like I shared that. Like if you want the spreadsheet and you want to change how much you're spending in protein per dollar, sure. We're going to focus on that for now. So just pretty much giving as much value as possible in a way that works with the algorithm is kind of what we're learning the skill of.
Yeah. I do like the fact that you are coming at it from a point of like, I've done this already, like, and this has helped me. Let me get a list of all those things that I have done to help myself, and then put it on other people. Yeah, because clearly you feel like it's benefited you, and it should benefit other people.
Yeah, that's exactly the thought process.
Yeah. What are you most excited for in your life right now?
I have like where I'm going. I might go to Alaska in a couple weeks. Check out Northern Lights. We'll see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm deciding the next couple days. Something's just on the bucket list. See the Boris Borealis.
You really like I don't know if it's spontaneous, but like you'll just like leave for a bit right now. You're kind of just doing the thing. Like you like EDM a lot too, right?
Yeah, it's been I've been kind of toning it down because like I don't like staying up late. But overall, like went to Tomorrowland, been to EDC. Just like to feel good in your body. You get a break, you hang out with some friends.
What's the romance of EDM and stuff?
The romance?
Like, what do you like about it? Because, like, for me, I don't like it.
Yeah, there's hip hop, there's pop. I found something in 8th grade. And I was like, oh, I like the sound of this. It just like feels good and I like to dance to it.
Okay.
So I've always.
That's it.
Yeah, that was
it. There.
Like there's hip hop and everything else, and like EDM's on the list.
Okay.
Yeah, just open minded. You find stuff like, oh, this is good. And just like you go to Europe, you hear their type. It's like, oh, I like this too. I don't
Europe,
like this.
they love it, bro.
Yeah.
Europe's like, I see
they love their techno. They love their trance.
Yeah. The crowds there are insane.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what? I'm just like, what do you guys find so like dope about this?
Yeah. And then that's just going to be a preference. Like some people like spicy food. Some people don't like spicy food.
Yeah.
It's interesting like how differences there are. As some stuff just resonates.
For sales, bro, what is the importance of selling?
The importance of selling?
Yeah.
Helping people to make decisions. And that's kind of how selling is pretty much helping people to make the right decisions for them. When it comes to importance for like the people, that's their importance. But for like a business or anything, we're really always selling. It's involved in everything that we do. We sell ourselves, we sell products, we sell friendships, we sell relationships.
If someone wants to be good at selling, what are the steps?
I mean, put your reps in. You want to learn general ideas, get in a selling situation, understand the framework of helping people reach their goals is what good selling is helping them understand how most likely your product is going to help them get to their desired outcome and live the life that their desired outcome is going to give them and give them a feeling of joy, satisfaction. Could be depending on what you're selling, whatever that feeling is. But selling is helping them understand and make that decision and getting them there.
How do you simplify that in a way that is digestible?
Yeah. So that's the importance of selling.
Yeah.
Like, why is it important for like a company, for yourself, or like the person? Like, who am I saying it's important for?
No. So in terms of like, how do you sell? Like how if I'm selling this smelling salt.
Okay.
and you just romanticize selling and say that it's fulfilling some part of their life, but there's a simple way of like, how would you argue that? Like, sell it.
Yeah, to sell well, one, you have to understand the person.
Okay.
So see why they would want this.
Okay.
So you understand the person and then walk them through how whatever you're selling is going to help them.
Got it.
It's not about the product. It's about...
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier today. You're like, it doesn't need to be a good product necessarily.
Yeah. When you're selling and marketing, a good job of selling and marketing, the product isn't like, you don't care about the features. People don't care. So it really is just like how...
It's presented to you.
Yeah, and like how it's going to make you feel. Like, oh, this seems awesome. You're probably going to buy it. Like, oh, this is going to help me live a better life. This is going to help me be happier. This is going to help me get more women, make more money. Like, if you truly see that and believe that, it's an easy buy when they're asking. But you have to help them get from where they are now to where they want to be.
Because that's their desired outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all it is helping them, truly understanding them. And you have to like listen and like really listen. That's probably one of the most important skills in selling is to listen very well.
I think with anything, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I feel like friendships too. Like if you're a good listener, like people already think you're a good friend.
Yeah. No, because and that's classic how to win friends, influence people.
Yeah.
Just to be listened and heard and like to feel connected. A lot of people want to feel heard and understood.
Yeah, that book is so true and it's been around for so long.
Yeah.
I was reading my mom's How to Win Friends and Influence People when I was at UCLA, and it was probably 30 years old, and it was like falling apart, and I was trying to read it, and I was like,
still fantastic.
The principles are still there today.
Yeah.
And I think they're even more important now based on like society standpoints. Like the amount of people that I see who are mad all the time because of poor communication is a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, if you could just listen and truly understand the problem versus stating your opinion all the time, like the world would be a better place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's common human and probably has been and will be forever.
How did you develop your like people skills and communication and everything like that?
Practice. I mean, I start with that book and then it's reps like everything else.
Yeah.
You have to get
You keep saying
interaction to
that,
sell.
and it's so important to like ingrain in people's head that like that's the work.
Yeah.
Like with anything, and you simplify it so well because you're like you're just like it's this. It's not complicated.
Yeah.
It's just putting in the reps.
Yeah. It's always putting in reps. Any skill, anything you want to get better at, you put in the reps.
Just do more.
Yeah. You want to get better at talking to girls? Talk to girls.
Yeah.
You want to get better at interviewing? You practice interviewing. You want to get any skill? You do the skill. If you want to get better at basketball, you play basketball.
Yeah.
You can't read a book about shooting a basketball and get good at basketball. You have to take shots.
Yeah.
You have to put out reps. You have to lift. And I think that resonates with most people. It's like just like lifting, you have to put in the reps no matter what you're doing.
I think that's why a lot of people who are into sports, who are into weightlifting, who are into fitness, they do well in business and like most aspects of life.
Yeah.
Because it translates so well. Mm-hmm. It's like if you do this bicep curl, like you get this pump preview of like what you're going to look like in the future.
Yeah.
And then it's the same thing with like a business or anything else. You do the rep, you're like, oh, like I got that one sale on that client.
Yeah.
Oh, like I could do that again.
Yep. You learn, you iterate. That's all it is.
The inputs and outputs of life, bro.
Yeah, to get better at doing the thing helps to do the thing.
Yeah. For meditation, I want to go back to it real quick before we conclude. What's the process of it though? Like there's a lot of like people do meditation apps. Like for me, I just try it. I guess my meditation is like running in the sense of like I just don't think necessarily. I kind of just like go in that flow state, Yeah. What's the process of it?
So I think meditating is you have to have the right intent going in. Mm-hmm. Like you're not trying to clear your mind. That's not the point. And you don't really succeed either or fail. Like the success is continually trying to come back to your breath when you notice your attention has strayed.
Okay.
So you sit down and you're going to notice that there's a bunch of thoughts. Like you're going to be on it for a while. Then all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh, wow, I've just been thinking about random stuff for like the last 3 minutes. I haven't paid attention to my breath at all.
Yeah.
You come back and that's a win. You practice that and then you're more aware of your thoughts and you're building presence. But you don't just try to sit and silence your thoughts because that doesn't work. You're going to have thoughts. But meditating is realizing those thoughts. They come, they go, and just being aware of them. That you're the awareness behind the thoughts and you don't get necessarily absorbed in them. And then a lot of the thoughts lose their potency when they're not helpful to you, when you can do that.
What does that do for you?
being mindful allows you to use your attention more directly and be aware of it. Just like you measure everything, you measure something, it can be fixed. When you're measuring and paying attention to your thoughts, you can be aware of them. You can see when they're helping you. You can see when they're not. And when you practice that, you're like, oh, wow, that thought's there. That's very interesting. And you're aware of it, and you can kind of see problems and start fixing them. But the first step is being able to see your underlying thoughts. If you can't see them, you can't really change them. You don't know what's going on. Sometimes it'll come up if someone asks you a direct question, but other times you're just like, oh, that's there. That's
I didn't think about meditation in that light, in the sense of you're just sitting with your thoughts and acknowledging the thought, but like keeping that thought in the back of your mind. Like, oh, like that keeps popping up. Yeah. That thing keeps coming to the surface. That could be a problem that I need to fix. I didn't really think about meditation that way, bro. Because like I thought meditation was you trying to be as present as possible to not get anxiety from all the busyness up here in your brain or in life. You know, coming at it from like that strategic standpoint is interesting.
Yeah. And then you don't really quiet them, or you can't really stop the emotions or thoughts. But having the ability to see them what they are and not necessarily identify with them. Like, all right, I feel this way, and that is how it is. So it pretty much teaches you radical acceptance of your thoughts, which is very powerful, especially if you're trying to make mental changes, or it also helps your focus. Like you can see when you've drifted off because your focus is stronger now because you know where your attention is. Yeah. So it's really training your attention and also allowing you to utilize it better.
Heck yeah. In terms of fitness stuff, anyone who I have is in the fitness space on, I always ask, what are the most important movements in fitness? What do you think is the most important? Like if you only had to do one type of movement, what would that be? And then like, I don't know, if you had like 10 exercises that you would say are the only exercises that you need to be like super healthy and fit and strong, what would they be?
Yeah. So it's relatively functional. One movement, I think having a strong core and glutes is extremely powerful, and that's fixed a lot of problems. Knee problems, back problems. If you activate your glutes properly, a lot of those would be fixed. Okay. So like an isometric hold for like back extension, isometric hold, great for that. Great for that. Fantastic. I think if you can do that, you're gonna have less problems overall and be able to live healthier if you have a strong core and glutes. 10 exercises. I mean, that's a lot, but depends on what you're trying to do. Sure. Trying to stay mobile, I think anything with glute contraction, proper like hip thrusts are great. Being able to have balance into your old age and continue to lift for bone density. Like Bulgarians, I like squats, I like benches, I like dumbbell presses, rows, pull-ups are top tier. You can do your isometric like bicep and tricep work too. So like pulling motions, pushing motions, squats, Romanian deadlifts, stuff with other country names in it is usually good. Like Romanians, the Bulgarians, Turkish get-ups.
Do you ever look into it? Like, why are they named that?
No, I don't know.
Yeah. Because so many my clients ask me, and I'm just like, that's what they're named. Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't make the rules.
Turkish get-ups are slept on.
Yeah, no, they're really good.
Slept
great
on,
for shoulder stability.
Shoulder stability, I would say.
Core,
grip strength, core, legs, everything. Yeah, I think walking is what I usually tell people, and kettlebell swings. That's kind of it.
That's a good answer.
If you could do those two things, it kind of hits most of your body, and solves time. The biggest thing is people, they're just like, oh,
they want to allocate all this time.
But the thing is, if you work out hard for 30 minutes, maybe less a day, like just intentional, like, and track like, oh, like I benched 100 pounds. Now I'm going to do 105 this week. You know, I feel like some people just get stuck. You're like, this is the weight that I always decide to use. Yeah. You know, and like, you probably could lift heavier now.
You don't understand progressive overload. Like, you just understand, like, if you lift stronger, you're going to get bigger.
Yeah. Period. Yeah. You want to talk about anything else, brother? That's good.
I think we're cool.
Sick.
Yeah.
Where can everyone find the Way of Willie?
Instagram at Way of Willie with an IE. So WAY of OF Willie, WILLIE.
And then website and everything like that?
Same thing, Way of Willie.
Okay. And then they could contact you there to see if...
the Instagram would be great. We're continuing to build out. So yeah,
let's see where things go. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Appreciate it.
Peace, guys.